I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Paul Clark, Managing Director of Kersbrook Wine and Cider.
It is going to be hard work for some of you to get back to at least where you were before, if not a better place. But there is some positive aspects that come out of what is a pretty significant change for a lot of your lives. We are a family-owned winery. We've been going for 23 years. We started the vineyard from scratch. There was nothing on the land when we first started. We do make wine and we do make cider, all from pretty much locally sourced grapes and apples. On the 2nd of January 2015, the world as we knew it changed. It was a really hot day, not dissimilar to the event that happened here. 44 degrees, there's a really strong northerly, and then this kind of happened. That was just down the road from us a little bit. Kind of, we'd seen that before, that's nothing too much to worry about. They said they put it out. And that's the view from our cellar door, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it became that. That's my front driveway. The property looked like that, or at least the vineyard looked like that prior to it. And then it looked like that. And that. I couldn't believe the blanket of grass that was there after that rain. Nature's a wonderful thing. Total destruction does create the opportunity to reflect. But please don't rush to make decisions. Okay, one of the things I really learned out of this was do what you have to do. So if you've got animals running around and you need fences, then you've got to build fences. But if you don't, then take a second to think about it. We wrote a big list on a whiteboard and we went, this is what we need to do to survive, and this is what we can kind of hang on for a little bit. There is a real sense of trying to rebuild what you had before. Oh, I want to get back to normal. Well, your new normal could be better than your old normal if you take time. Can you recover? Well, the vineyard effectively went from looking like that to that. That was taken in spring this year. And that was the front yard. And that's what it looks like now. It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly and completely they come back.
I'd like to introduce Tim Marshall. Tim is one of Australia's top organic experts, and it is a privilege to have him here with us tonight.
There is very, very little research on how to recover fire in farmland. There is some research on how to recover soils in forests, both native forest and introduced trees. So some of that, of course, is transferable to farmland, but farmland's quite different because of the intensity of use, because of the inputs that we use, and because of the returns that we expect from it. The loss of nutrient clearly is fairly dependent on temperature, with the hotter fires being much more impactful, and also the duration of burning. So clearly we lose a lot of organic matter or carbon, and we lose some biology, especially if the fire is prolonged for a while. So add organic matter where possible, especially add compost and humic acids if you know what they are. But rule number one, always keep the soil covered. Cover it with mulch if you possibly can. Cover it with living plants if you possibly can. Compost tea is important because it is a way to spread the effects of a small amount of compost over a large area. To remind you, healthy soil, this is really good healthy soil, okay? You can see, obviously you can see air holes clearly in that soil. You can see evidence of biology teeming with life. You can see white, healthy root hairs and roots with no black or brown lesions. Those white, healthy roots are a really, really good sign. Some other effects. Okay, habitat loss, of course, means loss of habitat for native animals and reduction in all those beneficial interactions, which Gary was astute enough to pick me up on straight away. Pollination, in pest control, all those homes for insectivorous birds, lizards, wasps, etc., all of those sorts of things. So establishing vegetative cover and a diversity of cover ideally, as soon as you can. You also might get increase in numbers of feral animals and predators become more effective. Because there's nowhere for the native animals and the birds to hide, so the cats and the foxes, etc., can be much, much more effective. Unfortunately, if you're a certified organic grower, you don't have a lot of options for feral animal control. The rules are very strict. Not everyone might know this, but organic rules are not just about what chemicals you can and can't use in the soil. They also require us to encourage biodiversity. They require us to use humane methods, and they require us to use social justice methods. Okay, so these are some of the things that make, for me, organic a really exciting way to go. And if you haven't read an organic standard, the NASAA standard's available for free from their website, and I suggest you read it because many people who haven't encountered organic will be surprised what a down-to-earth and sensible farming method they are. Thanks.
Please make welcome Ron Watkins.
Evening. What am I? The wild man from the west. So you've just been burnt out. Has anybody been totally in this room, pretty much? Yep. But what have you got left when all is burnt?
Blackland.
Blackland. Yeah. Let's be a bit more specific. Burnt. Ash. Soils. Is soils? Soils? Soils. Your seasons won't be changed. They're still there. And I would suggest that you'll still have wet seasons and dry seasons. You've still got these things to work with. And to me, they are, as collective Australians together, these are our real wealth. Now, even if you've been burnt out, you will still get energy from the sun. You'll still have wind, you'll still have heat, you'll still have gravity. So to me, when you look at those features, they make up what I call a whole environment. They are the whole package that goes together. What I'm suggesting to you is that you need to look at the resources that you have, that is, all of these things together, and start working out how you can use them better. And to me, water is the driver. Okay, water is the key to starting what you plan to do into the future. If you think that needs controlling, don't look at it as a problem. Look at it as a resource, potentially, and set up your farm to start collecting it. Now, what else can we put into that system? Now, I'm using gravity because I've got the water high in the catchment. I pick it up there and our houses are lower. So all the toilet water and all the garden water is organised by gravity. Water is a shocker to move around. Sheer weight costs you a lot of money. So if you can store it high in the catchment, you've got gravity. For those of you who are farming and want to do it naturally, how important are birds in your landscape? They are. And which birds are probably more important than others? The little insect-eating birds, which are your small birds. Now, how high off the ground do those little insect-eating birds nest? No more than about 1 metre So you need to have understory. But I've had so many farmers come to my place, look at all that undergrowth and everything else that's in the tree belts, and said, you need to put your sheep, cattle in there. I said, no, I've got other stuff in there. I've seen hornets dragging cutworms, this long, they're straddling them, dragging them into these tree belts. Now, the thing about little insect-eating birds, they won't fly out over open space any more than 80 to 100 odd metres because they're going to get nailed. So they won't. So unless you have tree belts going through your entire landscape every 160 to 200 metres wide, you are not going to get natural insect control. Your birds can control your insects if you set them up properly. In the wild that you're setting them up for birds, you're stopping the wind, you're cutting the stress on your plants, you're opening up the opportunity to get biodiversity into your landscape without, in fact, affecting your production, in fact, enhancing your production. See, we have this idea that if we look after all this stuff, it's going to be counterproductive. I'm suggesting if we don't, it's going to be counterproductive. You might make a quid in the short term, but ultimately what are you leaving behind for your children and your children's children?
Thanks very much, Ron.